Hey YouTube people, I got a couple more trips with my Copenhagen Wheel that I was going to share the uh, data from. This was a ride home a couple days ago. You can see the same distance as my first trip. It actually took a little longer, or a minute longer, um, 0.2 miles per hour slower average speed. As you can see, the uh, kind of I'm on a 20 mile per hour. Basically, I've got it limited at that 20 mile per hour. Um, so that and this trip was in turbo, and I actually ended up with 32% battery, so more battery left than my first trip that was on standard. Exact same trip, just slightly different wind direction and one pannier instead of two, less stuff, less weight. So that is the first trip. Here is the second trip. So in my first video, I was talking about how I felt like the bike was holding me back, anytime I got to 20 or above. That was my bad, not, doing a good job looking through, it's actually not a setting, it's under the wheel feature. You can actually, give a specific speed you want assist, 20 miles per hour and then on down, or you can click assist above 20 miles per hour, which I had not done. It kind of gives you like a little, kind of legal thing that you have to, acknowledge or whatever. But so on this trip, I had it in turbo again, and this was actually the opposite direction, but, that same 15.9 miles, but did it, considerably faster, 10 minutes faster, 4 miles per hour average speed faster. And you can see if I scroll through here, we're getting pretty much a consistent, 24 miles per hour when I'm, on kind of, a section with no turns or whatever. So much faster, kind of the more like the experience of the test ride, with that change made, and obviously it makes a big difference. Much nicer, but with that on turbo and assisting up to 25 miles per hour, this 16-mile trip used 95% of my battery. So yeah, so those are just the raw numbers from the trip.
Thoughts on those two trips? I mean, the first trip was a ride home from work. It was 70 degrees. The wind was basically with me for half of the trip. On turbo, I used less battery than my first trip on standard, which just kind of goes to show you how much difference, things like wind can make. I had one pannier versus two. So obviously, it doesn't really take a lot to change, the battery usage you're going to get. I did find that, for me being limited at 20 is kind of, it's nice from, the battery usage perspective, but, what I don't like is, I'm approaching a light that's about to turn. I'm strong enough to ride 22, 23 miles an hour, in that situation, especially with the help of the wheel. But you get up to sprint at that light and the wheel's kind of limiting you. So that's kind of something I definitely got to get used to. The second ride, after I'd found the feature that let me go over 20, super fun. I mean, doing 24 miles an hour consistently, you know, um, again, considerable amount of effort on my part, but just being able to ride 24, it's amazing. It's like being, part of some sort of ghost peloton, and it just is an incredible feeling. Using virtually the whole battery, 95% of the battery to do that 16 miles, that's fine for me. The point for me was about getting to work faster. and I got there in 45 minutes, which at 21 miles an hour, that's amazing, for a ride that, maybe I could do it at 14, 15. Because I didn't have a computer on the bike, I don't really know, but I sure as heck know I couldn't have done it at 21 miles an hour. So amazing, perfect. And I did want to kind of say, like in my last video, I was talking about how it is still for me the same amount of work, which is what I wanted, because I'm all about getting there faster. I just wanted to sort of say to anyone who wants this for the wear your work clothes and be able to ride without getting all sweaty and whatnot, you know I think it would be great for that, in the sense that if you wanted to do a trip at the same speed that you would have, say you would typically ride 12 miles an hour. If you just ride 12 miles an hour with the Copenhagen wheel, it's going to be majestic. You're not going to get sweaty. It's going to be hugely less effort. But for me, that's not the reason I got it. I want to go faster because I need to shorten the time frame of my commute. So I just wanted to be clear that when I said it's still a lot of work, or the same amount of work, that's because I'm going 5 miles an hour faster than I would be without it. And the having it on turbo is not really my long-term goal. I mean, at some point later this summer, I'd like to be riding to work and home. So that's 32 miles. If I've got to have it in eco, that's kind of the long-term goal. At this point in the season, I'm happy just to ride one way, leave my car at work or whatever, and do it like that. So yeah, super fun. Having it on the more than 20 miles an hour is awesome. I love it. I do wish there were it would be great if you could kind of tell the app, don't have the wheel put in more than 300 watts, versus speed. Do it that way, because I would love to be able to, have assist past 20 miles an hour, but maybe not as much. But again, I've only been using, or I've only had 3 trips, so I'm really excited to put it in standard, and kind of, because I would assume that that's the difference, between standard and turbo and eco is the wattage the wheel is putting in. So I'm excited to do some more trips, and I will report back with my experience.